Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? Hey man, it's almost here. The start of the NBA season is only a few days away, and you know what that means, right? It's time to come with them NBA playoff predictions, man. Now, I'm gonna self snitch. I started recording. I actually finished recording my Eastern Conference version of this. But I actually royally fucked it up because I forgot two major teams in the whole East. I was just so excited to put two up-and-coming teams in the playoffs that I forgot two playoff caliber teams. So I'm actually gonna I finished that and I realized that. So now I'm coming to the West because I was just so demoralized that I messed it up so bad. So now I'm gonna start with the West instead of starting with the East. So we're gonna do Western Conference Western Conference playoff picture. We're going to do the Eastern Conference, two separate videos for West and the East, and then we're going to do a NBA awards video talking about predictions for who's going to win MVP, sixth man, rookie of the year, all that stuff, man. Before we get in the video, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get the notifications when I drop a new video, and leave a comment. I would greatly appreciate that. Let me stop rambling. Let's go ahead and get on into the video. All right, so let's go ahead and kick off our Western Conference playoff picture predictions with the 8th seed. I have the up-and-coming Phoenix Suns, man. Phoenix Suns. Now we know what they were able to do in the bubble. They went undefeated, and they were in the they actually weren't. They were supposed to be in the play-in game, but it ended up being Memphis and Portland. But they should have. We all agree. I think we all can agree that they should have been, just off the fact of them going undefeated. But it is what it is. This team made some good strides last year, and especially in that bubble, man. Devin Booker was, we all know who Devin Booker is. Devin Booker is that guy. He's that Kobe-esque scorer that can go out there and get 60, 70, but he's also but he showed that he can be a clutch player, made plenty of timely shots, went out there and just balled his ass off. And then, DeAndre Ayton obviously was his second year. He missed the first 25 games, I believe, last year. For some dumb shit that he did, but he's coming back, developing how he's going to develop potentially into one of the best big men in the league, hopefully. And that team was very, very promising. Coming into this year, they picked up Chris Paul, which was actually a very good acquisition for them. Chris Paul, a player that can a playmaking point guard, one of the probably the best but one of the best to ever do it in the game, as far as creating for other people and just being an overall solid player, And then they bring in Jay Crowder coming from the Heat. He's a solid defender, can shoot the pill a little bit. And who else did they bring in? I think that was it, really, huh? They didn't really bring in too many other guys. They have Mikal Bridges and Cameron Johnson running those wings, so they have a lot of youth there. Cameron Johnson showed a lot of promise in the bubble. Mikal Bridges, we know what he can do. This team is just solid, man. This team is going to make another jump. The West is stacked, so it's hard to say that they're going to be anything other than the 8th seed for right now until they show us a little bit more. But I definitely have them taking over that 8th seed, and they're going to be a very, very fun team to watch. Probably my favorite team to watch this year. Probably one of my favorite teams to watch, besides obviously the Lakers. Besides them, obviously, but this is going to be one of my favorite outside teams to watch, just because they've gotten so much better, and Devin Booker is going to be that guy, and hopefully he gets more love as far as maybe even potentially MVP. I don't know. Maybe he can go MVP caliber this year. He's still very, very young, and he's already been an All-Star finally. So yeah, Phoenix Suns, man, 8th seed. Okay, so my 7th seed, I'm going to take the time out to make a little bit of a disclaimer, because the West, I was trying to wait to make these videos just to see what the whole situation with James Harden is going to be. But right now, it's been the past 2 or 3 days. It's been every day we've seen something about him being traded. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that James Harden is probably not going to be a Rocket by the time the season starts, or some time down the road before the trade deadline. So I don't have them in the playoffs. And the team that I do have in the 7th seed, it pretty much was like a flip. Like it was either this team or the Rockets. If the Rockets kept James Harden, I would have the Rockets as the 7th seed. But I'm going to go ahead and assume that they're not going to keep him, just because I've been hearing so much talk about him being traded recently. It's been picking up. They're talking about like a 3-team trade and trying to get what they want, all of this shit. So that's how I'm going about it, because I'm running out of time to make these videos. I want to get them out in a timely fashion. So that's how I'm going to do. But my 7th seed is the Golden State Warriors. Okay, the Golden State Warriors. Now I know they don't have Clay, man. We're all devastated to see Clay go down with another season-ending injury. And if they did have Clay, I would have them higher in the playoff picture. But because it's probably going to be the Steph Curry show. And to be honest, that's all this really is banking for me. I think it's going to be that situation like with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook's going to just will, Russell Westbrook even by himself is going to will a team to a playoff spot at least. I think Stephen Curry's going to do that, and I think it'll probably be hard because we all know how the league is with the MVP. But Steph Curry's on my MVP watch. I think he's going to go out there. He's going to go crazy. He's going to probably average like 30 plus this year. That's my prediction. But we'll talk about that in my NBA awards video predictions. We'll talk about that later. But Stephen Curry, they got Andrew Wiggins coming off the bench. He can produce. We'll see what he can do. We all know Andrew Wiggins was supposed to be a little bit more than he is. But we'll see. Kelly Oubre was a solid pickup. I like the energy he brings to that team. Draymond's going to be Draymond, and then James Wiseman is that big. They don't really use bigs to their fullest potential, I don't think, the Warriors, but we'll see how they decide how they want to use him. I think honestly I think James Wiseman would be better suited on a team where it's kind of be more focused on him. Maybe like the Hornets instead of LaMelo. He would definitely get the bulk of the work and show up and be able to show his skills a little bit more. But then, this team is solid when I look at it. Kent Bazemore, solid shooter. Damian Lee's gives you a lot of production. They picked up Brad Wanamaker, who's I think is going to be a pretty good backup point guard to give Steph Curry a little bit of a break. And then Eric Pascal, we saw what he could do last year. And then Kevon Looney. I love Kevon Looney. He's like that dirt, grit, and grind player. I love him. I loved watching him play in that series where they lost that season where they lost to Toronto. Kevon Looney, before I think he actually was hurt, but when he was playing tough, and he was giving him energy off the bench. So this team is, I wouldn't say it's the best team as far as talent wise, but I think Steph Curry is going to will that team. So that's going to be my 7th seed, the Golden State Warriors. All right, for my 6th seed going into the Western Conference, I got the Utah Jazz. Now, I feel like I would be wrong if I didn't have the Utah Jazz somewhere within the playoff mix. I think they're just that team. They kind of remind me of the Memphis Grizzlies when they had Mike Conley playing at a high level, Zach Randolph, Marc Gasol, all of them. They remind me kind of of that team. They're always going to be in the mix as far as the playoffs. I think that Memphis team is a little bit more dominant than this team, but I think that this team is just like, they're always going to be that in the playoff picture somehow, some way. So I would be wrong if I didn't, put them somewhere here. But I have them at the 6th seed, and obviously they didn't really make any moves. Not from what I'm seeing. I don't see no new favor. I mean, no new significant faces. Maybe there is. Maybe I just don't know if they was there last year, if they wasn't there last year. But their lineup is pretty much the same. Mike Conley at the point, Spider Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic, not Bogdan, Bojan. I get them two mixed up all the time. Royce O'Neal at 4, Rudy Gobert obviously at the 5, and then Derek Favors coming off the bench for Rudy, and then Jordan Clarkson coming off being that 6-man scoring option. I think that'll be good for him. That might put him in if he can be consistent with it, that might put him in the 6-man of the year contention. If he can be consistent, we'll see about that though. But yeah, there's not really much to say about this team. They're gonna be in the playoff mix. That's all. That's really all it comes down to. They're gonna be one of the better defensive teams in the league. Spider Mitchell's gonna ball. I don't know if we've seen his ceiling. Donovan Mitchell, man, he's still very young though. I think he's still they're still very young. Let me see. Let me click on how old is Donovan Mitchell. He's got to be less than. He's only 24. So he might still have more more to show us. But the West is tough, and we're just gonna put him at the 6. I don't have really much to say about the Jazz, other than we'll see if Donovan Mitchell could make some more strides, even if there's like they don't have to be big significant strides, you know, even just like a little bit here and there, maybe defensively, maybe just finishing, I don't know, but we'll see. But Utah Jazz, 6th seed. All right, so my 5 seed coming out of the Western Conference, I have the man, the myth, the legend, Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. Man, okay, so they should be higher is what I'm trying to say. I think they should be higher. But the only reason they're not higher is because KP is going to be out for the foreseeable future. So it's going to be the Luka Doncic show. And this is another instance, just like the Warriors, where it's going to be like, you know, Steph Curry's going to have to will that team. Luka's going to have to carry this team for the most part until KP gets back. And I think, I think that's going to put just the same as Steph Curry. I think that's going to put Luka in MVP contention. We'll talk about that in my awards video. But yeah, Luka Doncic is going to have to carry this team. He has some help with Tim Hardaway Jr. They got Josh Richardson. They brought him in. Maxi Kleber. His name is so weird. I hear his name being pronounced. People pronounce his name Maxi Kleber, but it's spelled Maxi Kleber. It's so weird. I don't know. I go with what I hear. Maxi Kleber. And then they're probably going to have Dwight Powell running that center for Kristaps until he gets back. And then Dorian Finney-Smith coming off the bench. Jalen Brunson coming off the bench. The team is solid. It's okay. It's not like a great team. You have Luka. Wait, didn't they have they got somebody on? I thought they had got like a defender, a wing defender somewhere. I guess not. Oh, they still got Bovey too. Tyrell Terry, Trey Burke. Oh, they got Trey Burke, who played pretty well last in the bubble. I don't know. I thought they had picked somebody up for some wing defending, but yeah, this team is gonna be. They're gonna be a solid team. They lost. What's his name? Silas, who went to go be the head coach for the Rockets. So we'll see how that offense fares. I think they'll probably still be a top offense either way, because Luka Doncic is just so good at getting his teammates involved. Tim Hardaway can hit shots. Josh Richardson can hit shots. Maxi Kleber can hit a 3 if he needs to. If you need him to. Well, not if you need him to, but here and there. And then we'll you know. But like I said, this team just banks. The success of this team would be a lot. It would be a lot, but like their positioning would be a little bit higher if Kristaps was there. But seeing that Kristaps is out, this is the only place I could put him, man. So Luka Doncic and the Mavericks got him at the number. What seed did that? This is 5 seed. I think this is 5 seed, right? Yeah, 5 seed. Yep. All right, so my number 4 seed in the Western Conference, I got the LA Clippers, and this is a tough team to talk about because I don't really know. I don't really know what to talk about. I mean, I know what to talk about, but I don't know. I know why I have them as a 4th seed, but it's just like I don't have a reason to put them any higher, and I feel like I kind of want to, but I can't. The two other teams that I have above them, I feel like they got better. This team didn't really get too much better for me. They picked up Serge, obviously, but Serge is a little bit older. What is he going to bring to the table? They're pretty much the same team. They brought in Luke Kennard for some more shooting. Other than that, they're pretty much the same team with Reggie Jackson, Lou Will coming off the bench, Zubac coming off the bench, and then obviously you got your starters: Kawhi, Paul George, Pat Bev, Marcus Morris, and then Serge is going to be starting at the center. Just the Clippers are probably going to be. I mean, we all pretty much had them kind of at least contending for a championship last year, right? Obviously there was a big letdown to see them. I mean, it wasn't a letdown to me. I'm a Lakers fan. I loved watching them blow that 3-1 lead. Trust me, I loved it especially after all the shit that they were talking. But coming into this year, it's gonna be less expectation because they're kind of back in that kind of like they're kind of back in the basement as the Clippers. More so, they're obviously better than they have been, but they're kind of back in that basement section. They're not really like, oh, the Clippers are going to win a chance. So there's a lot less expectation. So I feel like they're going to probably perform a little bit better. But yeah, they're just, I don't know, they're kind of middle of the road to me, man. They're kind of middle of the road to me. Like I said, I have the two teams that I have above them that we'll talk about in a little bit. I feel like those two teams got a lot better, and this team didn't really get too much better. They're probably they're around the same. So I don't see them being that second seed. I'll have them at the fourth seed. I'll have them at the fourth seed. I think that's all I really have to say about that. Yeah, man. The LA Clippers, fourth seed. All right, number 3 seed in the West, man. This is kind of a not a, I won't say a wild card. This is kind of a hot take, I would say, in my opinion. But I really like this team. I really like what they did, and I really like where I see them going. The Portland Trail Blazers, man. Portland Trail Blazers jumped from the 8th seed, literally playing in the play-in game and having to win that game to get into the playoffs, to the 3 seed. I have a couple reasons why I think they're going to make that big jump. First, I'll start off by talking about acquisitions. Robert Covington is going to bring a defensive mentality to that team that I think that they need. They're going to need, when you watch them in that series with the Lakers, obviously the Lakers are the Lakers. It's tough to stop them anyway, but I think Robert Covington is going to bring a better defensive energy to this team. So, I mean, say they're playing any other team, they're playing any other team. I think they're gonna be able to, lock up a little bit better. The top teams, it still remains to be seen about the top teams, but as far as winning those little ticky-tack games against, say, I don't know, the Jazz, yeah, Robert Covington's probably gonna help with that. Obviously, they still got Carmelo coming off that bench, being a 6th man. I love Carmelo coming off the bench. He's there for the foreseeable future, I guess. Rodney Hood's coming back. I loved Rodney Hood the year before in that playoff series, coming in with those fresh legs in the triple overtime game, coming in with the fresh legs and getting them that W. That was great. Rodney Hood's going to help them out, and then the emergence of Gary Trent Jr. being, one of the best shooters in the bubble was that's going to be pivotal for that team to become, that top tier kind of contending with the Lakers and the Nuggets and the Clippers and all of that. So that's going to help them. Also, they picked up Enes Kanter, and then they have another reason why I think this team is going to be good is they have Yusuf Nurkic coming back, being healthy. He's coming back healthy at the beginning of the season. Now, we knew he came back kind of the middle of the season or in the bubble, and he kind of found his mojo, but I think that mind state of coming back just healthy at the beginning of the season is going to help him. Oh, and obviously they got CJ and Dame. I think Dame's going to be probably MVP caliber. CJ is going to be, how did I not talk about them? I talked about everybody else, but I didn't talk about the 2 best players on the team. Damian Lillard is probably going to be in the running for MVP. I think he's going to go off. He's going to go crazy. And then CJ, obviously CJ, solid wingman to Damian Lillard. So yeah, Portland Trail Blazers 3 seed in the West. All right, so number 2 seed in the Western Conference, I have the Denver Nuggets. Now, this is kind of maybe could be considered a hot take. I don't know. They're actually always top 3 in the West anyway, so maybe not. But they didn't get. But what I'm saying is they didn't really get better as far as acquisitions. They actually lost a couple pieces. I know they lost Torrey Craig. And then I think there was another play. I can't remember. I'm not even going to sit here and try to remember. I really can't. But Denver, 2 reasons why I think that this team is going to be, a dominant team in the West. One, they have 2 players that could possibly contend for most improved player of the season, of the year. Michael Porter Jr., obviously, he used to average 9 points per game last year, and then we saw what he did in the bubble. He was a role player, a pivotal part of that deep playoff run that they had. So I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to make a huge jump, especially seeing the fact that he's starting now, according to ESPN. But I kind of believe that because I can see him starting, and also Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray really showed out. He really took that next step that I really wanted him to take. I remember I made a video probably a year or 2 ago, probably last year, about him. I just wanted to see him make that step to be either just a top scoring guard or just a facilitating point guard or whatever. But I feel like he took strides in both of those, being more of a better facilitator, a smarter playmaker, and then also becoming a guy that could put up 30 at will. So Jamal Murray, I think he's definitely on pace to be potentially a most improved player. The second reason, that was my first reason why I think they're going to be a top team in the West, a top 2 team in the West. The second reason is because this team, so I watched some preseason games of them, and I know it was a small sample size because they, the starters didn't really play too much together. But when they did play, when I seen Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic out there with those role players and Michael Porter Jr., they just looked like they were so put together. They looked like they had this chemistry that they built off of the bubble. And I think they were one of those teams that I think grew really, really close in the bubble. And I think they're going to translate that outside of the bubble going into this next year. And they're just going to be a team they're not, the deepest team in the world, but they're just a fluid team. They have a lot of good chemistry, and they have leaders in Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray that's going to go out there and, especially Nikola Jokic. You've seen that guy. That guy would take over a game, man. That's crazy. And then Jamal Murray can go out there and drop 60 and duel it out with Donovan Mitchell, and they can, go back and forth and drop 60 every other game on them in a series. So it's just it's crazy how they have that dynamic. And they also retain Paul Millsap, which is good for them. Veteran presence, and he just knows that team. And also Mike Malone. I love Mike Malone as a coach. I think he's a good leader for that team. I just like this team a lot, man. I like this team a lot. So that's where I got him. I got him the number 2 seed. All right, Western Conference 1 seed should not be a surprise to anybody. My prediction, Los Angeles Lakers. Gonna take over the West, man. They're gonna dominate the West for the second time in a row. Me being a Lakers fan, I'm very proud of this team. I love when my teams do things. I love when my teams win championships, yes, but I also love when my team does things. And when I say does things, when they make acquisitions that are going to help win games and potentially put us in championship contention. Obviously, we have LeBron and AD. We don't need to talk about them. They're the 2 most dominant players, and the 2 of the most dominant players in the league right now, right? They picked up Dennis Schroeder, second in the running of 6th man in the year last year. So we got some more scoring at the guard position. I don't know about his defense, but we'll see about that. But we definitely got some better scoring. We picked up Wesley Matthews, who will definitely give us some better defending at the wing, for sure. We picked up Montrezl Harrell to give us that good energy coming off the bench. We picked up Marc Gasol, a savvy veteran. He can facilitate at the big, being a big. He's a pretty solid passer. He can shoot the pill, he can shoot the pill at the 5, so he can stretch the floor for Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And he's also, I don't know about his defense. He was definitely a prior defensive player of the year, but I don't know. When I was watching the preseason games, he still looked a step slow. That's just old age will give you that. I wouldn't rely too much on him too heavily for defense, but him coming in there being a savvy veteran and just looking like he just belongs there. He even said it seemed natural when he put that jersey on. It felt natural to him. I can't wait to see how this team meshes. Those are just the acquisitions. We also have the players that came back, like Alex Caruso, the Kentavious Caldwell-Popes, the Kyle Kuzma, the Markieff Morris. Those players were very pivotal in us winning the championship last year. And then we got also players that are emerging, like Taylor Horton-Tucker in the preseason, dropping 30 points, dropping 20 points here. Quinn Cook is knocking the 3 ball down consistently in the preseason. So we'll see what roles they get, but that is definitely a good sign to see young talent producing, and it makes you feel better when your young guys and your 3rd and your 4th string guys they look good and they could potentially be serviceable. But yeah, man, this team is just gonna dominate the West. That's just what we gonna do, man. That's really nothing much more to say. Really nothing much more to say about the Lakers. We gonna dominate. That's all I got, man. That's the end of the video. And make sure y'all hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button first, and then hit the notification bell, and then leave a comment. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all predictions is. But that's all I got for y'all boys, man. Till next time.